As tensions on the Russia and Ukraine border escalate, some Western powers, including the US and Britain, are considering personal sanctions on President Vladimir Putin if Moscow invades its neighbour. But what would that mean for Putin? Personal sanctions typically mean restrictions or freezes on foreign assets and travel bans. Imposing such measures on Putin would likely be seen by Russia as extremely hostile. Reuters Moscow bureau chief Andrew Osborne says Russia has been clear that these kinds of restrictions would effectively cut ties with whichever country imposed them.
It would be very difficult to target Mr. Putin's personal wealth because, as the Kremlin said today, officially speaking, he's not allowed to have any bank accounts or assets overseas. That's a rule in Russia, so the Kremlin says, it would be impossible to hurt Mr. Putin in that way. The other kind of sanction that they could go for, something which has been done, it would be some kind of travel ban that would restrict Mr. Putin's movements to attend international events. Again, that would be an extraordinary step, and Russia has been very clear that it would see this very seriously.
Like some other Russian officials, Putin is legally required to disclose his income and assets. According to his most recent official report, the Kremlin leader earned just shy of 10 million rubles. That's just over $126,000 in 2020. He also owns an apartment of around 829 square feet, 2 luxury Soviet Union-era sports cars, an off-road vehicle and a trailer.
It's hard to accurately estimate Mr. Putin's wealth. There are, of course, official declarations that he has made in the past which have set out what assets he owns, what property, vehicles, how much money he has in his Russian bank account. Critics say, of course, that these official declarations really are only the tip of the iceberg, and that in fact that Mr. Putin is fabulously wealthy and has properties all abroad in many different places and is one of the richest men in the world.
Putin and the Kremlin have denied allegations that he has huge amounts of wealth abroad, saying that they are without any foundation. Putin's most prominent domestic opponent, Alexei Navalny, who is currently in jail, is one of those who has alleged that the Kremlin leader's wealth is considerably larger. He believes Putin has an opulent palace near the Black Sea coast, and other critics have also said that Putin's wealth is held by a circle of loyal Russian business people on his behalf. The Kremlin denies all of these claims. The reality is that, in practice, sanctions might not change much for Russia's president. The Kremlin's veteran spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, has said restrictions would not actually hurt Putin personally, and that because his assets are in Russia, they're out of reach. Essentially, the impact of any personal restrictions would depend on proving the existence of any further wealth or seriously hitting the president's freedom of movement.